Hi everyone, welcome to our Flavours of India cooking class. We are going to have some fun cooking for you tonight through our Spotlight Book of the Month, Flavours of India. I am recording this, so if you miss anything, you can catch it up later. Everyone who's registered will get the link to the recording. If you have questions through the evening, please pop them in the chat and one of us will be able to answer your questions as best we can. We're going to start cooking basically and go through the recipes. For those who haven't seen a Thermomix before, you'll gather information through the evening, but at the very end, I'll go through some basics just for those who haven't seen it before, those who need a refresher. At that point, I'll also go through Cookie Doo and show you how that works. And I will answer any other questions anyone has that has come up through the night that you didn't want to put in chat. Tomorrow when I send out the recording, I'll also send out the links to the recipes, but they are all from our Flavours of India cookbook. What else? Yeah, that's it basically. So we will begin, and the first dish we are going to make is with the lovely Lisa. So I'm going to spotlight Lisa. Hey, you're on mute.
I'm unmuted now. Hello everyone, I'm Lisa and I'm cooking the spiced coriander prawns tonight, and I'll move the camera down here so you can see the screen because that's more interesting than me. Okay, so we hit start cooking and we're going to place mixing bowl on top of the for weighing. So I'm using a trivet that I got from the mix shop to do that. And I'll talk a bit more about the mix shop in a minute. And 350 grams of large prawns. I'm going to put that up here. And the mistake I made was when I bought these, I bought 600, but the heads weigh a lot more. So I'm a little bit short on what we needed, but that's okay for the demonstration tonight. Next one there, we're going to set this aside. Hit next. And we're going to place in 20 grams of nigella seeds, which I got from my local Indian shop down the street. And I was looking for ages for this, and then eventually found these lovely black seeds that I was looking for. Right at the bottom. Next one. I don't have any chilies because I'm a little stomach sensitive to chilies, so we're going to skip that step. The next one, 30 sprigs of fresh coriander, approximately 60 grams, cut into threes. Straight in there. And we're going to hit next, 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric. And this is a very good anti-inflammatory powder as well. Next, 1 teaspoon of garlic paste. Now I've mixed this up myself. I know it says garlic on here, but that's an old bottle and I just keep replacing what I need in there. And I got this recipe off the Cookie Doo as well, but I didn't make a full recipe on this one because it really does fill up the jar, and I find I don't need a full jar. The next one is ginger paste. I should have made more of the ginger because I certainly do use a lot more ginger. Put a teaspoon of that one in, also from Cookie Doo. Next, half a teaspoon of salt. And I milled this up myself as well, just on speed 9 from some rock salt that I had. And next. And 3 seconds on speed 9. So this can be quite loud. Next. And 20 grams of juice. So I don't need to take the whole lid off. I'm just going to take the lid off. I'm going to hit tar again. And then put in my 20 grams. 1 teaspoon. There we go. 10 grams of olive oil. Oops, not a bit too much. Insert the measuring cup. And 10 seconds on speed 8. Three, two, one. There we go. And we're going to scrape down the sides. Ooh, I'll show you what it looks like. There we go. There's our mixture. I'll scrape down. Back on with the lid and measuring cup. And this time 5 seconds on speed 8. And that's as simple as that. Now, in an ideal world, we see our prawns down here. There we go. You just need to marinate this basically, and normally for 20 minutes. Toss this all through. There we go. Mix all this through, and after 20 minutes, the all of the flavours would filter all the way through the prawn, and you'd be able to taste. Just let those the flavours just be all absorbed by that protein. Now, I'm going to move our little camera because we're going to pretend that we've been marinating for 20 minutes. Going to relocate over here. So on medium heat, my frying pan. Can we see the frying pan? There we go. You can see part of the frying pan. And it says a minute or 2 on each side on a medium heat. Maybe I need to turn that up a little bit more. And it's as simple as that. Such a nice, easy, simple dish. I've had that. It's not even sizzling at the moment, so I've probably put it on a little bit too early. But I thought I'd also take this opportunity to show you how I prawned 2 little prawns that I've got left here while that's cooking. There you go there. One Christmas, I was over at my parents' house, and my father had this lovely little gadget for deep prawning prawns, getting the shells off quickly. Just quickly glob up, because prawns are very messy. So what I do is I just pinch the bottom and make an incision in there, and then I grab our little prawn deprawner and I go up along the backbone, and this will take out the spine of the prawn. So I'll just make this all the way down. Pull my little trigger to open. You can see the poop chips come straight out there. That show there. And the prawn just peels right off. Nice and easy and mess-free. There we go. And that can go straight in there as well. And that's pretty much our dish. Maybe we can show you the finished dish after a few minutes after another video is played or something like that. But it's a very simple dish, and that's it from me until it cooks.
Looks good. It looks very easy, and I'm sure those flavours will be delicious as well, Lisa.
Yeah, it smells fantastic.
Yes, can Lisa come to our house at Christmas? Debbie's just asking. I'd like you to come too.
Absolutely.
This is a big job. That's cool. Okay, so I'm going to share, because we're virtual, we're able to do some make ahead videos to cut out some of the cooking time. Obviously, the downside of having a virtual class is you can't eat the food, but cutting out some of the time to show you the interesting parts is definitely a plus side. So we have a few videos to show tonight, and I'm just going to find one of curry paste. There's several different curry pastes that you can make in your Thermomix. But yes, I'm just going to show you now one of these ones that is very good. And this is from Alex.
Hello. So as part of the Flavours of India month that Thermomix is celebrating, we'll be making everyday Indian curry paste today. So first off, as you can see, we're going to have the cumin seeds, bay leaves, coriander seeds, a whole cloves, 12 cardamom pods, a cinnamon quill, black peppercorns, and all of that's meant to go into the bowl. So I've laid that all out earlier, as you can see. Whole seeds, whole leaves, whole quill. Put it into the bowl. And we'll put that onto aroma temp, 3 minutes on speed 1. We'll be back shortly once they have dry roasted. Okay. So the seeds and all the spices and the herbs have almost finished dry roasting. 2 seconds to go. Just cooling down for 8 seconds. Smells good already. All right. Click next. With the measuring cup still inserted, we're going to mill them now until they are a fine powder. Okay. 2 teaspoons of chili powder. I'll show you the finished product on this first. Let's see. All of those whole cumin, coriander seeds, bay leaves, peppercorns, cardamom pods. They are all completely dry roasted. They smell good. Chili powder, ginger, and turmeric, which I have in here. So that's all just measured out beforehand. 5 brown onions and fresh chilies if you wish. Measuring cup in. So a whole bunch of brown onions. I've gone with the chili, so we'll see what it's like. I've already added the Kashmiri chili powder, so this one probably won't be for the toddlers. And 3 seconds, speed 5. Scrape down sides and add garlic paste, ginger paste, and ghee. Okay, so I'll show you first. Beautifully diced, chopped, and mixed. Now, I already made this a couple of weeks ago, actually. So that is the garlic paste, which I have, I freeze it into the little balls in the freezer. And this one is the ginger paste. As you can see, same deal. So I've taken that out of the freezer this morning to defrost. And saves on purchasing the processed garlic and ginger paste. It's all fresh. And I'll just grab this here as well. Again, you can buy it if you want, or you can pre-make it like I have here. So just buying good quality butter and then homemade ghee, which is a lot cheaper. Sticky. A bit more. 3 grams more. And some canola oil, which I have not homemade. Bit more. And 30 grams of fresh curry leaf. Or 30, sorry, not grams. So these guys are from a market in Newcastle near where my brother lives. And put the measuring cup in. And 6 minutes, speed 1. So I'm going to saute that for us for the next 6 minutes. I'll see you back when it's done. Okay, so it's almost finished the sauteing of our onions and garlic paste, ginger paste. That's finished. Add 800 grams of whole tomatoes. Show you what it's like first. Almost. So as you can see, this makes a massive amount of the everyday Indian curry paste. And then once you've got this, you can put it, well, I put it into freezer bags, a tablespoon of brown sugar, into the freezer of about 200 grams each. And I know that that's enough for me to be able to make, say, the Thermomix cookie-do vegetable curry, but you can add it to your own curries. You can add it to stir fries. You can add it to the bread rolls. And salt, I've already added that. So insert measuring cup and go for a further 5 minutes. Show you. Here we go. It is a really efficient way of making multiple meals with all of the fresh herbs and spices that you can see there, but ahead of time and in advance, and yeah, you can be flexible with it. I'll see you in 5 minutes. So it's actually still doing the cooking at the moment of the curry paste, but what I thought I would show you is, whilst it's cooking, where you can find the recipes in here for the garlic paste and the ginger paste and the ghee, and obviously also the vegetable stock paste. So whilst it's cooking, I'll just type in ghee, for example. That was one of the ingredients that I had made ahead of time, and here it is here. So it takes a couple of hours, but it's actually only 5 minutes of your effort. The rest of it's all done in the machine. You just need butter and continue to cook it for a couple of hours. So that's the ghee. But we've also got the garlic paste that I made and you saw. Garlic paste. Here it is here. So 20 minutes ahead of time. Like I said, I make it and then I keep big bags of it in the freezer, but you can also keep it in the fridge for a period of time to keep your paste fresh and to avoid spoiling. It gives you all the tips here. And yeah, you can keep it in a sterilised jar in the fridge for up to 7 days. Go back to our recipe, 17 more seconds. So once this is finished, I'll show you, but I then let it cool. And then once it's cool, I decant it into a jar like this one. Then I'll keep one of them in the fridge, so I'll make the curry in the next few days, and the rest of it I'm going to put in the freezer where you can keep it there for up to a month. But I think this is a very cool recipe to be able to use all those whole grains and spices. Oh, pretty heavy. There we go. You can see it's still chunky there. Keep measuring cup inserted, and then 20 seconds, we're going to go to speed 4 and then increase gradually to speed 7. So there's 4. set aside to cool, and then use as needed. Transfer into the sterilised jars or bags and store until ready, which the tips are at the end of the recipe as well. Very hot. There we go, all blended. So I mean, what's that, 800 grams of tomatoes, 700 grams of onions, not including all the rest of the ingredients. So you've basically got over 1.5 kilos there of Indian curry paste. Thank you very much.
Okay, so that was the curry paste. There are other curry pastes you can do. The tandoori one is one I love from this same recipe book that only takes 20 seconds because all it is blending the ingredients together. But obviously you've got different flavors with the different pastes that you can make in your Thermomix. We're gonna switch back to Lisa to show us the prawns. They're probably well and truly done by now. Sorry, Lisa, but you're on mute.
I'm mute. There we go. I hope you can hear me now. So this is the finished prawns, and I did just a quick, well, my daughter did a quick beetroot relish to go with that. But I also just wanted to say that once you've got all of your Indian spices in your spice rack, that the dishes really don't cost that much at all. So I'm always happy to buy some lemons. Some lemons went with that dish, and it was just 1/2 kilo of prawns. So yeah, and I was always scared to try Indian food before I had a Thermomix. I really believed that it would be too spicy for me, but it's really not. It's just flavour. That's all. That's back to you, Laura.
Thanks, Lisa. So I'm going to show you, here's one I did earlier of some Tarka Dal, which was just delicious, full of flavour. We tried to pick some dishes tonight that you wouldn't normally choose. Like when you open an Indian book, you're gonna cook chicken korma, and you're gonna cook the butter chicken, which in this book is called Murg Makhani. You know, the lamb saag, all the normal things. So we tried to cook some things maybe that the everyday Aussie might not try. So here's this one, and I also made some coriander naan to go with it, so I'll show that video next. It was just delicious. Hi, I'm wanting to show you now how to make Tarka Dal from the Flavours of India cookbook, and I'm using guided cooking on my TM6 screen. Now the first step of this recipe is to make a coriander and chili chutney. I already have a different chutney that I'm wanting to use with this recipe, so I have skipped through that step, and now I'm at the step where it's asking me to put a bowl on top, and I'm going to weigh in the red lentils. I'll just bring this a bit closer, I don't know if you can see. There we go. It's asking me to weigh in the red lentils, so I've just got my bag of lentils here, and the bowl is on top. And I'm just pouring it in. You can see the scales go in 1 gram increments, so you can be super accurate, although it doesn't matter in this type of recipe. But when you're baking or doing something that needs you to be specific, those scales are very handy. So now I just press next, and it's telling me what to do. Cover with hot water and set aside to soak. Okay, so I have my hot water here. I'm just pouring that on top until the lentils are covered, and I'll do a bit extra just for good measure. I'll show you what I have here. I mean, yeah, not too exciting, but I've just covered that with hot water. So 2 minutes of setting that aside, and while that happens, I'll carry on with the recipe here. So it is asking me to, the next step is asking me to drain that. So, which means I'll just pause here now to let that soak. Okay, that's been soaking for 2 minutes now, so I'm going to use my simmer basket to drain that just really quickly. And it says that the lentils should be about double in volume, which it's looking pretty good. So there, and I'll just sit that over the bowl so that can keep draining while I carry on with the next steps. Okay, it's asking me to add 2 tablespoons of ghee. Now you can make your own ghee in the Thermomix. If you don't have ghee, you can also use butter, or if you want this recipe to be vegan, just use oil. And that's fine as well. Whatever you want to use. The recipe will work. If you want it to be authentic, go with the ghee. Adding some cumin seeds, which I have measured out. Get them all in there. Oh, sorry, I want to make sure you can see what I'm doing. And it's telling me to put the lid on. It's always very handy. It always tells you to put the measure cup in and put the lid on. Press next. And it's telling me to turn to speed 1. So this is going to roast those seeds for 5 minutes in the ghee at varoma temp, speed 1. Now to multitask at dinner time, instead of just standing here waiting for that to happen, these 3 dots over here are very handy. You can pull up the recipe detail and scroll down so you can see the next steps. So I can see now I want to get out my curry leaves, my garlic cloves, my chili, ginger. Like I can just use this time to get out all my ingredients. If I want to be really organized, I can also put the scales on and I could have a bowl up here and weigh my next ingredients. I don't usually bother with that too much. I just like to use this time to get out all my ingredients so that when this is ready, when this 5 minutes is up, or whatever you're doing, if you're sauteing onions, even if it's just 2 minutes, you can just use that time really effectively. Okay, that is done and it is sizzling away and it smells, I have to tell you, it smells amazing, which I can't show you over the thing obviously, but okay, I have some fresh curry leaves here. So this first few minutes, I should have pointed out, this is to go on top of our dal. This is a garnish. So if you want to be super quick and simple and want a 15-minute dinner, skip this step. But this is, this does make it taste really great, and it also looks impressive when you're serving up with guests to have this on top. So 3 minutes of cooking now. So we've got that ghee, we've got the cumin seeds, and now the curry leaves in there cooking away. Another 3 minutes, so you can go do whatever else you need to do around the house while that's happening. Okay, that's done. So we'll see the next step. It says transfer and set aside into a bowl. Use the same bowl I had the curry leaves in earlier. So it smells so good. And I want to get it all out. To have that, oh, sorry, you can't see what I'm doing. I can show you though. I don't want to waste any of this because the next step, it does ask you to clean and dry the bowl because we are chopping, you know what? I'm not going to worry about it. But there's our garnish set aside. So it does ask me to clean and dry the bowl. The next step is at chopping garlic and ginger and chili. So I've just decided on the fly that I'm not going to bother because if this were me not in a cooking class, I wouldn't bother. So I might as well just show you what I normally do. So, and I did have a bowl ready here for it, but that's okay. So it's asking me to put in 2 cloves of garlic, a chili. I'm just using half a chili and I have taken the seeds out. That's just your choice. And ginger. So I've got my nice big chunk of ginger there. And it's asking me to put the lid on to chop all those. Now, because the bowl is hot, I may need to chop this longer than it says because one of the safety features in the Thermomix is that if the bowl is hot, it takes time gradually to get up to the speed you want it to be at. And that's fine because normally it only takes 2 seconds to chop this. It might take maybe 4, something like that. I'll just keep that going till I need it, till I hear that it's done. Okay. I could hear that was done because the blade stopped making contact with the food that was in there. So that was 7 seconds. So yeah, it was longer than normally takes only a few seconds. But as you can see, we've got everything chopped up nicely there. And it's telling me to scrape down. Easy, easy, easy. Now we're going to add in lid. Oh, it's telling me to chop again. Oh, see, I didn't need to do it longer. That's done, I can hear that. Scrape down again. See, I often do the dal recipe from the basic cookbook. I've only done this one once before. I can't always remember the steps, but it doesn't matter because guided cooking tells you along the way, so it doesn't matter if you don't know what you're doing. So now it's asking me to add the water. I always slow down when it gets close because it's easy to add more, but not as easy to take away, although you can still take away. I have a teaspoon of salt, and I've also got my turmeric ready in there. So that goes in. We've got fresh tomatoes that I've just diced in that 5 minutes while the curry leaves were cooking. If you wanted to use a can of tomatoes, you can do that as well. If you don't have fresh. And the other piece of ginger that I have is going in. And our lentils, which have been set aside here. So they are going in. Interesting, the other dal recipe that I often do doesn't require you to soak the lentils. So just different recipes that are around the place. There's also a really yummy lentil recipe called Spiced Moroccan Lentil Soup in the basic cookbook. I definitely recommend trying that as well. Okay, the lid goes on, and now it's 15 minutes at 100 degrees on speed 2, and then dinner's ready. Okay, that 15 minutes is up, and I'm just going to press next. It is asking me to add, and you could do this through the hole in the lid as well, but it's asking me to add 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. So I've just got some lemon juice that I was squeezing a minute ago. Okay, so we've got the 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, and what does it say next? The chutney that you're wanting to use. So there's all sorts of different chutneys. The one in this recipe is a delicious coriander and chili chutney. I have had it before. It's really good. I'm using a mango and coriander chutney tonight, one that I already have in the fridge. So, yep, stir well with the spatula. I think that's the end because all my other ingredients are gone. So just give it a stir. Looking very nice. Okay, transfer into a serving bowl. So I have my serving bowl here. I'm trying to decide whether I should pour or scoop. If you are pouring out of the Thermomix bowl, it's good to pour onto a spatula or overturned spoon so it doesn't splash up, just like that. And it's saying to garnish with the reserved spiced curry leaves and serve warm. Now while the dal is cooking, so I'll get some of these curry leaves that we made earlier. I don't think mine looks as pretty as the picture, but it smells just as good, I'm sure, as anyone's making it. So I've got my Tarka Dal here, and I made some garlic and coriander naan to dip in. So bon appetit. And there you go. Thanks for watching. Okay, so there's the Tarka Dal, and I'll show you the naan in a second. I'm just going to make sure there's no questions. So Kimberly's asking me if you only want to make a small amount, does it adjust it? You would need to adjust that in your head. So as you're going along, you just calculate how to reduce that down, but you can do that. And there are lots of recipes that have smaller quantities. So like, for example, the tandoori paste I was talking about is a lot smaller than that everyday curry paste that Alex was making. But yeah, just, but also bear in mind you can freeze the pastes. So if you're going to be making it anyway and you've already got the fresh ingredients to make it, you can just make the big batch and freeze it. So you've got a few different options there as well. Okay, I'm going to show you now the coriander naan recipe, and I made this, as you could see, with the Tarka Dal. So while that dal was cooking in the 15 minutes was when I was frying the naan, but I had made the dough ahead of time. So a little bit of organization required for that one. But yeah, here we go. Hey, I'm going to show you now how to make the garlic and coriander naan from the Flavours of India cookbook, one of my favourite books. And I'm going to use guided cooking on my TM6 to show you this today. Easier for me because I don't know the recipe so well. I've only made this one a few times. So it's asking me to add a bunch of fresh coriander. And I love chopping herbs in a Thermomix because of that high-grade stainless steel bowl. Nothing oxidizes in there, so the herbs stay nice and green. Which means they're retaining their vitamins and just being all nice and lovely. So it's telling me to transfer into a bowl and set aside. So I will put that back in the same bowl I had my coriander in, just to make it nice and easy. And you don't have to worry about getting it all out. It doesn't matter if there's a little bit of coriander left in the bowl for the next step. But you can see it's nicely chopped, ready to go on top later, because right now we're making the topping for the naan. So it's asking me to add a tablespoon of ghee. Now you can use butter if you don't have ghee, but you can also make ghee in your Thermomix. Basically, you start with butter, and it's the process of clarifying that butter to make your ghee. So that's something you can do in the Thermomix, and that recipe is in the Flavours of India recipe book as well. Okay, it's telling me to put on my lid. Basically now it's going to melt that ghee. We've set it for 1 minute, aroma temperature, speed 1. But because it's on guided cooking, I didn't need to set that. It automatically does that. Okay, I don't know if you can hear that sizzle, but you can see now that's all nicely melted, and it's asking me to add 3 cloves of garlic. If you love garlic, you can do more. Up to you. Tells you when to put the lid on, so handy. And now it's asking me to chop just for 3 seconds on speed 6. Because the bowl was already hot, it did take a few seconds for it to reach the speed we wanted. And that's just what happens when the bowl is hot. Now it's asking me to scrape down the sides, so I'll do that with my spatula. And it's asking me to add nigella seeds, and I don't have those, and I'm okay with that because in guided cooking, the recipe tells you what it wants you to do, but you don't have to follow it. It's okay to skip that. So basically, I'm done here now, and I'm going to transfer this into a separate bowl and set it aside. Okay, so there is I've just set that aside into a bowl with our chopped garlic. A little bit of coriander was still in the bowl, and that's okay. I love this when it says, do not clean the bowl. So the goodness of what's in there is just going to go into our dough mix, which is nice. Okay, it's asking me for some milk. So you can see the scales there go in 1 gram increments, which just make it really handy. Hey, that was perfect. Really accurate when you're adding in your ingredients. You know that you can't go wrong with the scales. I'm putting in some dry instant yeast that you get from the baking section in your supermarket. I store my yeast in the freezer just to make sure it stays alive and well. Now, it's asking me to activate that yeast. It is set to 2 minutes, 37 degrees, speed 1. Now, one of the things I love about the Thermomix is that temperature control where you can choose between a whole different range of temperatures, and it's very accurate. So 37 degrees is a great temperature for fermenting and also activating your yeast and doing breads. You can also go up to 40 or 45 for melting chocolate, up to 80 for your working with milks, and beyond that for cooking your dinners. And we also have high heat temperature up to 160, which is where you can do all your caramelizing and sugar works. So I'll show you what's happened once this yeast is activated. Okay, it's ringing, telling me it's done, so we'll move on to the next step. I'll just show you, well, I don't know how easily I can show you without tipping it out, but you can see that the milk and the yeast has just kind of frothed up a bit, so it's ready to add the rest of our ingredients. It wants me to add 2 tablespoons of olive oil. So I'll just put that in now. And you could weigh this if you wanted to. You could put the scales on and it would be about 40 grams, depending on how accurate you want it to be. Okay, I've got here a teaspoon of sugar. People leave the sugar out, which is fine to do, but it does help with the dough rising nicely. 2 teaspoons of sea salt, and I just use Himalayan rock salt that I mill myself in the Thermomix. Takes about 10 seconds to mill that into a nice cooking salt ready to use. And our baker's flour, so just going in. Hopefully I've got the right amount there. Close enough. Okay, yes, and a teaspoon of garlic paste, which you can make in your Thermomix as well. There's a great tip for peeling your garlic in the Thermomix. If you put in whatever cloves you want and do it on reverse, speed 5 for about 5 to 10 seconds, all the skin will go to the side of the bowl and you can grab that out really easily. But yeah, you can make your garlic paste in the Thermomix, and there's a recipe for that on this same recipe book, the Flavours of India book. I'm just putting in yogurt, which I'm just going to say again, you can make as well in your Thermomix. It is very cost effective to be making your own yogurt. It's basically just milk, and then as well as the milk is some yogurt to start with as your starter, and then each time you make it, you just use a bit of your yogurt from last time as your starter. So it's very cost effective to be making your own yogurt in the Thermomix, and the temperature control in here helps you do that really nicely. We actually have a special ferment mode to do that. It's just asking me to mix that for 20 seconds on speed 3. So that's done. It's telling me to keep the cup in and just keep going, because now we're going on dough mode. Dough mode is really a good strong push. 2 minutes of kneading in your Thermomix is about 20 minutes of good old-fashioned hand punching. This one is going for 3 minutes. It's a different recipe where we're using milk and yogurt in this one. Normal doughs are just using water in the mix. Yeah, it's kind of cool to watch, and I don't know if you'll be able to see, but you can see the, I don't have the light. So it's kind of cool. I'll just pause now and show you. Okay, so now the dough is ready, and I want to show you how I get it out of the Thermomix bowl and put it on my mat. This is the Thermomat that you can get from the mix shop. It's silicone, so it's really easy to work with. And wrap your dough in so it can rise really nicely as well. So with your dough, this one's a really sticky one. So I can tell it's already going to be a bit more. I'm going to need my spatula to get this one out. But see where the blades are at the bottom? If I twist that a few times, the dough should just fall out. And when I'm making pizza or bread dough or focaccia, actually focaccia is sticky as well, but like a normal pizza or bread or scroll recipe, this does just fall out and it's not sticky. But with a sticky one, you've still got, like normally the bowl looks pretty clean. So I'm going to need to use my spatula and maybe even my hands for this one, because this dough is a lot stretchier and stickier than your average dough. And that's okay. The different textures of the different doughs just give you different results, which is kind of cool. And there's lots of different bread doughs you can do in your Thermomix, which are pretty cool. Okay, that's probably going to be good enough. Oh, I'll get a bit more. I don't like to waste. Okay. So it's telling me to work it into a ball and set aside to rise until it's doubled in size. So I am just going to have this here in my Thermomat. You can see it's a really nice, sticky, stretchy. It's not too sticky, like my hands aren't coming out messy, but yeah, it's quite good. I like that actually. So I'm going to wrap this up and leave this somewhere to rise. Maybe an hour. I'll just see when it's doubled in size. So this is definitely a make ahead type thing. Start in the afternoon if you want it for dinner. But I will show you again when that's ready. Okay, carrying on with our naan. It's been rising away for about an hour, actually exactly an hour. So the big reveal, unwrapping the mat. You can see it's been rising nicely. And the good thing about this mat is it is non-stick, so it's very easy to work with. I'm just going to grab all that dough. And the recipe says to divide the dough into 6 portions. I'm going to make oval shapes, about 20 centimetre long. Don't stress too much about that unless you're wanting to make it look perfect. But yeah, it's risen very nicely. It's still a sticky dough, but it's looking great. Now on this Thermomix, we have our circle in the middle if you're wanting to work with different types of pastries. But for the naan, we don't need to do that. But if you want to work with your mat, don't use a knife on that because we want to keep the silicone all nice and intact. I'm just using my spatula to cut in half, and then I'm going to roughly do thirds. And if you want smaller naans, you can do that too. It doesn't matter what you want to do. So working that into a ball, and I'll just set that one aside. Now on the side here, I've got my fry pan heating up onto high heat. And if you can hear the noise in the background, my Thermomix is actually making a dal at the moment to serve with the naan. So that's what's happening with that. So while this was rising, I was able to get that cooking. As well as fold some laundry and do some other things around the house. Chat to the kids. Okay, so the recipe just says to use the heel of your hand to form it into an oval shape. So you can just kind of, so I'm just pushing it. You could use a rolling pin if you wanted to. I quite like when it's rustic though, so it's not perfect. It's just kind of a bit bumpy or whatever. And you also choose how thick or thin you want it. I'm going to do it fairly thin. It's looking good for me. Once that's cooked, I will brush on that garlic mixture that we made earlier and the naan that we chopped in the very beginning. Yeah, this is working quite nicely, actually. If it's too sticky, you can use some flour to help that. I really like a rustic shape. I'm trying not to make it too perfect. Yeah, it just goes in. You don't wheel the pan, you just put it in a dry fry pan. And here it's sizzling away. And I do want to show you what's happening. So I've just got it in the pan. Nothing too exciting to watch, but I will show you when it's time to cook. Okay, that's been cooking about 1.5 minutes. So I am going to flip these over, if you can see what I'm doing. Ah, beautiful. You can see it's bubbled up and got those nice deep rich marks on either side. Okay, it's been another minute and I'm ready to take these off now. You can see it's been working on both sides now. And I'll just put on some more. Be a little bit efficient with your time. This looks fiddly, but I promise I am not a good chef. It is just as easy as I'm showing you. You don't need to really know what you're doing, just give it a go. Hopefully I'm showing you how easy it is. I'm just getting this garlic mixture now and brushing it on. Get that goodness in there. This is optional, by the way. If you want plain naan, just do this with ghee or butter or oil to give it that shine at the end. And now some coriander going on. And the last step will be, that's looking delicious, the last step will be putting on some salt, obviously optional as well. And we have our naan bread, and my dal is almost ready, so I'll be able to serve it with that in 2 minutes. While I keep cooking the rest, and we'll all be ready at the same time, and we've got a perfect dinner. So there's your naan. All right, so there's our naan bread. You can see how I did cut out some of the time there while it was cooking, but hopefully you could see how easy it was. I'm not a chef, but I was able to make that work for me. And we don't have any other questions in the chat. Make sure if you do have questions, feel free to just put them in there. I do have one last video to share with you all from our lovely Rhonda. This is definitely one you need a video for because it's like a very make ahead type it cooks for a few hours. It's our slow cooked spiced rack of lamb. Lamb shoulder actually is what it is. So I will pop that on for you.
Hi, I'm Rhonda. I'm going to make for you today the spiced lamb roast out of the Flavours from India cookbook. It's going to be in 2 parts because it does take a long time to cook, and I will be using the meter today as well so that we have a perfectly cooked leg of shoulder of lamb. Okay, so let's start cooking. Let's move this around to the machine. Okay, a tablespoon of oil, which I moved away. Then it's asking for measuring cup lid, and it's going to heat. Let's get that done. While that's heating, I might just point out, yesterday I lost my internet, my phone, and my power, and so I got to look at our book that we're featuring tonight, and I found that I've already cooked 12 recipes from this book without even looking at the book, doing it all searching on Cookie-Doo. So it's quite a valuable tool to go back and look at the book, and you get a different perspective when you look at the recipes one by one. So next we're going to add 3 teaspoons of mustard seeds. When you're cooking these sorts of recipes and it requires a lot of spices, it's a great idea to measure them all out first because there's a lot to find. So it just asks for the mustard seeds, and we're going to toast them off for 30 seconds. When you heat up the spices, it refreshes them. So a lot of recipes will ask you to heat them either in a pan or in your Thermomix, and that just refreshes them from being stored and intensifies the flavours. Okay, now our brown onion. Now for our brown onion. We're just going to chop that with our ginger paste. Our ginger paste and garlic paste recipes are well worth making because the paste is already minced up. You don't have to save time and all that peeling when you're doing that. A lot of recipes ask for the paste, so it's worth making up. You'll find them in the basic cookbook or on the Cookie-Doo website. They're in together, all pre-measured. Now for 7 seconds, a bit noisy. And now we're going to scrape down the sides. Oh, the smell's amazing. And now it's just going to fry those flavours together for 8 minutes. We'll be back in 8 minutes.
So now we're going to add our coriander seeds, our cumin seeds, our bay leaves, and our 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric, our tomato paste, our chilies, our salt. I like to lessen the salt in things, so I'm actually not going to put the salt in, and that's one of the great things about the cooking, is that you can adjust these things. Our Greek yogurt, 100 grams. And our coconut milk. I've actually got coconut cream. I don't keep a lot of coconut milk, so I can do one of two things. I'll just add the cream, or I could add a little bit less and water it down, but I quite like the creaminess of it, so I'm sticking with the cream. And we're going to insert the measuring cup again. And just for 30 seconds, we're going to mix this. So this is the first stage. Once this is mixed, we're going to pour this onto the lamb, and it's going to marinate overnight. And we'll come back once that's done, but I'll show you what I'm going to do first. Just scraping down the sides. We've still got 5 minutes cooking. Sorry about that. Another 5 minutes. We're going to set this aside for 30 minutes to cool down, and then we'll come back. Just give me 30 minutes. Okay, so it's been 30 minutes. I'm just going to show you what the marinade looks like, and we're going to pour it over our lamb. I've made some deep gashes into the lamb, and that's going to allow the marinade to seep into it and add the flavours, and the yogurt will help tenderise the meat as well. Okay, so I'm going to leave this overnight. I'm just going to cover this and leave this overnight. It's still a bit warm, even though it's had its 30 minutes. And then we're going to bake this tomorrow. And that's when I will film that again, and we'll piece that together, and you'll be able to see that. So here we are with the end result. So we put it in the oven for 1 hour on 150 degrees with the lid on, or you can cover it with foil. Then I turned it over, and it went for another hour with the lid on or covered with foil. And then we turn it back again for another hour. And then once that's happened, you take the lid off and then bake it with the lid off. For the last 15 minutes, it's been with the lid off. But prior to that, when on the last final hour cook, I threw some veggies in. I had all this sauce and a lot of space in, and I thought, wow, won't those veggies look nice and taste nice? So let's just cut it open and see what we've got here. and look at that. It's absolutely delicious. It's just falling apart. Beautiful. And I'll just taste a bit. The flavour. The flavour is amazing. Well, that's our spiced lamb from the Indian cookbook. I hope you get to try it. Thank you.
All right, so hope you enjoyed that one too. I'm definitely going to be making that now that I've seen how the review of that from Rhonda. She said it was really delicious as well. So I'm going to show you now how to make a quick Indian dessert. And this is our mango turmeric sorbet. So I'm just going to move my computer down a bit. So far tonight we've been showing you guided cooking where on the screen it shows you everything you need to do. This one I already know this recipe in my head, so I don't need the screen to tell me what to do. So I'm just going to use manual mode. So you can see here, this is just the home screen of the Thermomix. We have the time option here, temperature and speed. If I swipe this way, there's a whole heap of different options you can use on the manual mode of cooking. So putting the scales on would help me put in my ingredients. I have already pre-weighed, but I just wanted to show you that anyway. So I have here some, can you see, lime zest that I zested earlier and it's nice and dry. When I say zested, I used a veggie peeler to peel it off the lime. So I'm just putting in, it's about half a lime's worth of zest, of peel. And I am actually just going to weigh that sugar in because I've just decided to do less than the recipe says. So I've put in some sugar and the lime skin. And I'm just going to put the lid on and I'm going to mill that for about 10 seconds. So I'll just turn my speed dial up to speed 10. And I've stopped it when it got to 10 seconds. You can also preset the timer so it counts down. Either way works. Smells absolutely amazing. And I just want to show you the result here of powdering that raw sugar. Yeah, I can't remember if I showed you that was raw sugar, but now it's completely powdered. So just another thing you can do in your Thermomix, processing your own raw ingredients rather than buying them pre-processed, which can save you money, but also is healthier without having any additives in it. So now all the other ingredients go straight in. So I've got a bag of frozen mango. And if you want, you can freeze your own fresh and have it fresh and freeze it. But it's obviously not seasoned for that. I have half a teaspoon of ground turmeric in there. So turmeric's really great. It's a good anti-inflammatory ingredient and it's in a lot of Indian cooking. So that's why it's kind of great in this Indian style mango sorbet. And this, the recipe actually asks for almond milk, but I had some coconut cream open in a jar already. So I wanted to use that. And the recipe says you can substitute for whatever. It is really nice with almond milk. So either way works. What else have I got? That's everything. So that all goes in together. And I'm going to put the lid on and just chop those ingredients. The mango is obviously hard because it's frozen. So I'm going to do an initial chop and then scrape it down. Okay, about 8 seconds. I'm going to have a look, scrape down and do that again. But I will just show you after 8 seconds. The mango is already looking fairly pureed or processed. Do Do that again. Okay, so now this time I'm going to whip this for a minute and I'm going to add my butterfly whisk. This is what helps us whip, like whipped cream. You can make your own mayonnaise or butter or I don't know, just use it in whenever the recipe tells you to use it basically. But it's a really great whisk. So I am going to whip this. That's what it looks like already. Already, like that would be nice just the way it is. But I am going to add in my butterfly. So I've just moved some of the mango to the side so that I can see the top of the blade. See that middle silver piece? This sits on top of that. There's a hole there to sit on top. So I'm just going to jiggle that in. That's good. Now I'm going to whip this for 1 minute on speed 4. And while I do that, I've asked the lovely Lisa to share with you all something so that you don't have to just watch me be noisy for a minute.
Hi, am I unmuted? Can you hear me? So I wanted to say why I loved being a consultant. I've had a Thermomix for 3 years, but only just this year have decided to become a consultant and share the love around, and why I love my Thermomix so much. The reason I became a consultant was my youngest daughter was moving out of home. She's recently engaged and they bought a new house, so it was time for her to leave the Big Kern's house, and she came home one day after being out at dinner at her boyfriend's house, or fiance's house as they are now, and she said, "I made dinner tonight." And I said, "Really? What did you make?" And she said, "Rice." And I thought, "Oh, that's interesting. How did you do that, Brie?" And she said, "I did it in Tracy's Thermomix." And I thought, "Oh, I'm going to have to get her a Thermomix because, you know, things are so hard when you first move out anyway." That I didn't want her to struggle with cooking, and we weren't a big cook family before we got the Thermomix. So I decided to become a consultant and earn a Thermomix so that Brianna could have one to herself. And that when you're a consultant and you earn 6 sales, then that pays for your Thermomix, except for this month. This month, if you become a consultant and you sell 4 Thermomixes, you will pay out what you owe for the cost of the Thermomix. So if you know 4 people that can benefit from having a Thermomix on their bench, then you're going to get your Thermomix for free. The other things that I love about Thermomix is it's so supportive. I'm always really surprised to come away from every meeting feeling like I'm a bulletproof and I can do anything. There's so many supportive ladies and gentlemen in this group that we belong to, and it's just so empowering to be a part of a group of people that lift you up rather than trying to tell you what's wrong in the world. They're telling you what's right, and I just love that supportive the environment that I find every single time, every meeting. I come away feeling empowered. And before I became a consultant as well, I used to go to Laura's classes at Rouse Hill Community Centre when they were on, and I paid for those lessons, and I was so happy to do so. And the real reason behind it all was so that I would meet other people that had a Thermomix, because I didn't know anyone that owned a Thermomix apart from my consultant. And it was really lovely to be in an environment where there were other people that were there to learn. And I've learned so many different recipes just from watching Laura and watching the other consultants that are there in the group. My other favourite thing to do is to shop on the Mix Shop. So especially during this COVID period, I've been doing a little bit of online shopping, and I don't have a lot of apps for shopping. I've got eBay, and I've also got the Mix Shop. It's not on an app, but I do that one. So when I want to spoil myself, I go on and see what's new, and they're all toys for my little Thermomix. And I've bought everything from ice block molds to trivets to for even cooking of your vegetables. I haven't needed to use it as a trivet just yet because I haven't found that the vegetables do cook unevenly. My unit's pretty good. Or the vegetables that I've been cooking have been cooking evenly, so I haven't needed to use it for that purpose. But there are the jars for making yogurt, and jump on, do yourselves a favour and jump onto those and see what you can buy for yourselves. It's nice to spoil yourself a little bit every now and again. And is that all the time that you needed me to talk for? Because, you know, I could talk underwater.
It's been ready here waiting. So, so this is what it looked like after a minute of spinning, if I can get this out of the way. You've got the mango turmeric sorbet, and I love the swell that the butterfly gives it. So that's a really quick instant dessert you can make if you've got some ingredients on hand. It's like, oh, what am I going to make if, you know, visitors pop around, or if you need a healthy afternoon tea snack for the kids or whatever. You can cut out the sugar entirely or just cut it down. It's up to you. But yeah, super nice, and, you know, with an Indian twist with the lime zest in there with the turmeric. So I'll just show you how I would serve that up. I should be using my scoop. I'm just using my spatula. So if I spin that around a little, look how nice and creamy that is, though. I don't know if you can see that, but it's just beautiful. Really great texture with that frozen mango. And then if you want to serve it with if you want to make it look pretty with a little garnish, you can put some coconut flakes on top, and just makes it look a bit fancier. I wouldn't do that all the time, but, you know, if you wanted to do that, you can. Okay, so I am just going to, what am I going to do? I'm going to show you, that's all the recipes we wanted to cook for tonight. So I'm just going to go through a few other things. At the moment, we have a promotion for anyone who purchases a Thermomix in August to get our free Flavours of India book. Funnily enough, that's why we've cooked everything from out of here tonight. It is a beautiful book. The pictures are really nice in it. Yeah, and everything I've made from this book has been really great. The roti's good, the paneer, the merg makhani, like, it's all just really good. And not just the book, but anyone in August will also get our Thermomat, which is really great for using to wrap dough, work pastries, anything. So you would have seen that in my Naan video. We do have several different payment options available for the Thermomix. So you can earn a Thermomix, and I think Lisa covered that really nicely. So if you have questions around that, please speak to your consultant, or you can reach out to me as well. And yes, so that's the earn option. We also do have payment options. So there's Zip Money, which is 24 months interest free. Now that works out at $23.69 per week. So that's a really great option for those who just want a Thermomix on the bench without the outlay of the initial investment. And you can find, as you have your Thermomix, that you will be able to save money in your grocery budget, and also cutting out takeaway, cutting out processed foods, that type of thing. We also have another option to split out the payments over 3 months. Or if you want to just pay it all in one lump sum, it's $2,269. And you can do PayPal, credit card, bank transfer, Alipay, or WeChat Pay. So a few different options there for you. If you wanted to host a cooking experience, it could be virtual or in person, depending on, you'd need to talk to your consultant and your guests and see how you want to make that work. You only need 2 or 3 friends to host a cooking experience, and be eligible for a host reward. So we have some great rewards like our thermo servers that keep your food hot or cold for a few hours. This is a smaller one. There's bigger ones. The mat is also a host reward. Or if you have a TM5, this is actually the last month in August where the Cook Key is one of our host reward options. So if you're interested in a Cook Key, talk to your consultant about how you can get that as a host reward in August. It will still be available to purchase ongoing, just so you know. Thanks so much for all of you for coming. So I'm just looking at the chat and there's a question. What was the tomato recipe? There was tomatoes in the curry paste and there were tomatoes in the Tarka Dal. So maybe that was it. I am going to be sending out the recording tomorrow and a list of the recipes we did. So if anyone was late, you can catch up. We'll make sure you get all the info you need. So for those who are great. So for those who are well-versed on Thermomix and cookie dough and everything, that's the end of our Indian class presentation for this evening. And thank you so much for joining. If you have questions though, feel free to stay on. I am going to go through cookie dough and I'm going to go through, after that, I'll really briefly go through the TM6 just for those who want info on that as well. So yep, I can see your questions there already. Is there a way to stop it defaulting to Australia every time with the filters? There is not at the moment, Debbie. I'm very sorry about that, but we have asked for that and have been told that that will be coming at some point. So that's a stay tuned. And that's another cool thing about Thermomix is we get software updates whenever they feel like they want to give us a little upgrade. It just comes on the machine. So it's really great. Okay, I am going to screen share cookie dough. First, I've got to bring it up. Just so you know, while I'm screen sharing, I can't see the chat. So if any other questions come, feel free to come off mute and ask me verbally, or if one of the other consultants can help, that's good as well. Okay, so this is my cookie dough screen. And if I scroll down, you can browse through different recipes, sort of what's trending, what's new. You can see the latest collections, that type of thing. But the main thing you're going to use is your search bar. So say you wanted to make, what's a favorite? Butter chicken. This middle one here, Merg Makhani, that's the butter chicken from our Flavours of India book. It's it's a great authentic recipe compared to this sort of very westernized version here on the left. That was a by the by. I'm just showing you cookie dough at the moment. So that was me cooking in typing in something that I wanted to cook. Once I've found the recipe that I'm interested in, I can click on it. Oh, I need to log in. Sorry. And I can browse through it and have a look. Looks great. I can press that to cook today and it will go in the weekly planner on my Thermomix. Or I can do some different things here. I can add it as a bookmark. I can add it to a collection. Now, when I press that one, these are the different collections that I have created. You can just press the create collection button if you don't have any collections, or you can add it to your weekly planner. So you choose which day you want to cook it. Let's go with Saturday because it's a bit more of an involved recipe than my usual ones. Or you can add it to shopping list, and that's really cool. I'm going to show you that soon. If you don't know what you want to cook, but you know you want to cook something that has pumpkin because you bought a giant pumpkin and you need to find something to cook with it. So I've typed in pumpkin and I'm going to scroll through, and this pumpkin risotto with bacon looks good. So I'm going to press these 3 dots and organize them. So maybe I'll bookmark that to try sometime this week. Now, when I searched, some of these results were baking things rather than dinners. And let's say I definitely want it to be a dinner. So I'm going to go to my filters. Sorry, I just pressed the wrong button. Here you can narrow down your search. So say I want to cook something that's main dish vegetarian. I would click that, and so my results are going to come down quite a bit. So you can see now I've got a much more narrowed field. I'm like, okay, now it's easier to find what I am interested in today. I'll take that off for now. The other filters you can use are adding in other ingredients, tags. So tags are like egg-free, vegetarian, nut-free. It could be, you could put a healthy tag, you could put like just a keyword basically. You can filter by time, portions, ratings, version, but also the main one I'm scrolling down to is this very last here, where we can really expand our filter by, I'm going to tick English, by unticking Australia, because now it's showing me all the recipes that have pumpkin over all the English countries who have Thermomix head offices, basically. So that Australia tick means that those recipes were developed by our head office here in Australia. It doesn't mean they're classic Aussie recipes because we have a lot of multiculturalism here. But by unticking Australia, we're just broadening our search to include more recipes that have been developed for Cookie Doo. And Cookie Doo gets new recipes every month. So check back in every now and then and find some new recipes. Now, let's say you don't even know what ingredients you want to cook, but you know you want to cook something that is healthy. I'll just type in healthy. And the healthy recipes start coming up. Anything that has that tag comes up first. Another one could be, say you want something that's tagged as being an afternoon tea type of recipe. So you could just type that in. As it heads towards Christmas, you could just type in Christmas and all those recipes will come up. So you can really use your tags to find recipes that you wouldn't have otherwise found. Another great one, if you need something that's going to impress, you could just type in the word gourmet. And you could get some more impressive dishes coming up. So yeah, that's the search and the filters. I want to show you here how the recipes are organized. So I'm going up to my recipes. These are my bookmarks. So these are some of my favorite things or things that I'm wanting to try soon. Nope, I've tried all these. They're all really good. These are the collections that I have created, and these are the ones that I have saved. If I go to my week, these are the recipes I had in my weekly planner, so you can see what I've cooked today and what I plan on cooking in the next few days. But what I really want to show you is my favorite thing over here is this shopping list, because when you add recipes to your shopping list, it categorizes all your ingredients so that when you're going down the aisles, they're all together really easily. So if I've got 7 days worth of recipes there, all my dairies together, all my meat would be together, all my preserves, my spices, that's a lot of spices because of the Megmakani. Yeah, so if you already have some of these ingredients, you just tick them off before you go to the shops. I've already got, I keep a well-stocked pantry, so I've already got all these things. Yep, I don't have bacon or bocconcini. Yeah, so yeah, you just go through and just tick what you have already got. And when you're ready, your list is ready to have on your app and take it to the store, or you can send it to someone else with this share button. Or if you haven't noticed this beautiful green order ingredients button here, particularly handy at this time where if you're wanting to isolate and not be near people. It's just taking a minute to think. This takes me direct to the Woolworths online, so I can do a click and collect, so I can just zip in and out, or I can do an online delivery and have it come straight to you. So on this site here, you can swap. So say you want a different brand, or say, I don't want vegetable oil. I would prefer to use olive oil. So you can just press the swap button and find the one you want. And I was looking for the Aussie one, but it doesn't matter. I can play around with that later. So yeah, you just swap what you want. So I would change those to the free range eggs. So you can just do that, and then when you're ready, down the bottom right, you add it to your Woolworths cart and you'll go straight there. So you can do a delivery or a click and collect. That's a really quick rundown of Cookie Do. If you have further questions about that, please ask your consultant. There are also links on YouTube. What questions have come in the meantime? Oh, someone's asking how to use the cook key with a TM5. I'm going to get back to you about that, Soledad. I can help you with that tomorrow. That's a longer answer. Yeah, I will just show you how that all looks on the TM6 now. Yeah, so when you get your cook key, it will come with a booklet of instructions. But yeah, I can help you further with that. I'm just waiting for the TM6 to turn on. Okay, here we go. So this is the home screen when you turn it on. If you want to find those recipes that I was just looking at in Cookie Do, come up here to these three stripes, the three lines, and go to my recipes. Your bookmarks are there, your created collections, and your saved collections. Your week is there as well. So this is the one that takes a second. So that's what I was wanting to cook this week. I haven't completely filled it in. What else do I want to show you? Your recently cooked is always there. So you can go back to your favorites really quickly or find what you made recently. Your settings, don't need to show you that. But yeah, if I swipe this way, you can see here that this screen is the same as what I was screen sharing from my laptop. So basically the whole side of Cookie Do is on here. So you don't have to use a different device. You can just come straight here and start typing in and find exactly what you want to cook. So sometimes my kids come and they don't even know what they want to cook, but it's breakfast time. So they would just type in breakfast and we'll just see what come up, and they will just find something they want to make and get going on it. So you can see there's different variations. They often go for pancakes or porridge, but yeah, we've made a few of these things. Those poached egg pots with smoked salmon, that's a really gourmet, beautiful breakfast to try as well. But yeah, you can see all the different, even just boiled eggs. So yeah, that's how Cookie Do looks on your TM6. And back to the home page, if I swipe the other way, these are all the modes that we didn't really go through earlier. So you've got your scales here, and they go in 1 gram increments, so they're really sensitive and just so handy compared to using measure cups. Oops. Dough mode we used for the naan. Turbo is, you need your, I'm not going to really do this because my sorbet is still in there. It's not even going to work. Anyway, turbo is just a quick pulse. So that's really, and that's the fastest it goes. So that goes at 10,700 revs per minute. So turbo is really powerful. It's good for mincing meat, actually. Clean mode is what I love to do after dinner. It says approximately 5 minutes, but once you put in the water and it starts going, it actually detects the mess and it will change that time. So it could come down to 1 minute or it could go up depending on the mess that it detects in the bowl. And it just kind of cleans it for you. So that's really handy. Kettle mode is just a matter of choosing what temperature you want. So I make tea at 80, but you just choose whatever and then turn it on and it will call to you when it's heated up to that. Blend mode, slow cook. I mean, that's kind of, it's the same as the normal Thermomix method of cooking where you set your time, temperature, but the speed is going to spin every now and then, and it will stop for most of the times just to let your recipe sit in the bowl without spinning, but then it will, every now and then it will just give it a stir, and it goes up to 8 hours in slow cook. Sous vide is where, and there's some information here on what to do, but it's basically where you have vacuum sealed or snap locked bags of your protein in, and your bowl is covered basically full of water, and you have your bags in the simmer basket, and you're really gently cooking your protein. So you can see here in sous vide mode, the temperature options go in 1 degree because really gourmet chefs who are picky about their sous vide will care about a 1 degree difference depending on what they're doing. So you can play around with that, and it's pretty cool actually. Ferment mode is to make yogurt or creme fraiche or start off your sauerkraut. Rice cooker is basically like a rice cooker. It's your absorption method, so the blades won't be spinning in that one. It just lets the rice and the water sit in the bowl, and it will tell you when it's done depending on how much rice and water you put in there. If you aren't sure how much rice and water to put in here, just press the magnifying glass and type in the type of rice you're trying to cook. So I was doing this with someone today. Where am I? So say you want jasmine. Just type in jasmine and it will tell you what to do for jasmine rice. So it just basically tells you everything to do, and then you start it and it will tell you how long it's going to take. So I'm going to cancel out of that. And the last one over here, if we swipe again, is this thicken mode, which is great for sauces like custard, hollandaise sauce, a white sauce, gravy, that type of thing. But the blank space is pretty cool. I know you're thinking it looks boring, but the blank space is opportunities for the future. And For Work are always working on new things for us. So when software updates come sometime in the future, some new modes might come as well. So yeah, so that's a really quick rundown of the different modes on the TM6. I'm just going to say goodnight to Martin because he needs to go to bed. Good night, Martin. Yeah, so if anyone has any questions, feel free to come off mute and ask me or ask in the chat. I'm trying to make sure I've covered everything. Thank you so much for being on tonight and for cooking along with us. I'm going to stay on, but that is the end of our class for this evening. If you can't think of what you're wanting to ask tonight, you can always get back in touch with your consultant or myself in the future. But yeah, I am just going to stay on as everyone's leaving in case anyone has any further questions. So thank you and good night.